got me feeling like gin. Off this gin, I'm melodic with the smoke in the air, and the smell is hypnotic. With a strawberry swish blunt with a whole lot of chronic in a pocket, with a wallet, with a whole lot of nada. I be stressed, but it got me in the ethereal mode, with a serious soul in a cereal bowl. Like I'm searching for the sunflower, I'ma go on the road, but keep my mind open, infinite like the Konami code. Hip-hop is my soul. Hope you looking when he's rapping. B-boy spinning to the beat like Mugen when he's scrapping. I'm jugging and I'm lapping on my way to Shangri-La, but some live, some die in the way of the samurai. Hear my battle cry, I might stay late and keep my fresh on the sideways 8. Yeah, I might make babes. All I need is some risotto and a cosplay chick that was born in Kyoto. Why? But that's a no-no if I ain't got that protection B. I keep my sword sheath, I don't need no BM stressing me. I wonder if there's a message, G, when I hear these new rappers. I ain't hating you rappers, but I prefer the boom bappers. It's the truth rappers, it's the war of the words, and I'm standing on top the castle representing the third. I guess you ain't heard, I'm following my destiny, following the God of fools, father to the death of me. A cross on my chest and resolve in my heart. Ain't shit you can do to bring a stop to this march, bring a stop to this art. You must be JK, and I grab the mic and get loud like an AK spray, and then I stay laying this heat over beats. I got the resolve of a beast, so girl, put your knees over these shoulders right here. They holding up the world already. Mujushin style stabbings got your girl all sweaty. Ah, you mad, bro? My bad, I'm in my zone. Miyamoto Musashi with the microphone. The best squad in the city is watching my back. I might hit you with a two-piece like Mataza the Zap. I'm just talking that crap. I'm a peaceful warrior. Yeah, my flow Mega Man. I'll defeat and absorb you while I'm hungover off gin and soda. I'm a fucking hero, dog, man. I beat Genova. Word to Jehovah. Right hand on the rhyme. The way I'm rapping these lines, so you can examine my mind. Take a step inside. Don't be afraid. I'll let the beat lead me while I lead the way. And I seen today as I read the sermon that all I can tell you's only death is certain, but the way of the samurai is found in death. You might hear a lot of deep shit, but mine sounds the best. Yes, yeah. This one, baby. KV Anime on the beat. Hood Hemingway. Hot damn, hot damn, hot damn, yeah, 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 hot damn. Hot damn, hot damn, hot damn, yeah, 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 yeah. Hot damn, it's hot out here, but I'm sipping on some Pinot. Yeah, you probably heard of me somewhere, maybe Sumino. Yeah, I love Hina, not as much as Ray Hino. Studied under greats, yeah, boy, I feel like Gino. She horny like she kinda, hey. Bitch got tits like Sonic, hey. Catch me in that box like a motherfucking solid snake. Golden week forever, crying every day a holiday. Catch me up on box and post it up, sipping ramen, they like, socky bottomless, slizzy on the Nautilus. My bitch is 2D, but she looking like a model, bitch. I'm nerving on the castle like I'm Tetsuo Economist. Spit it with that weave shit, who'da ever thought of this? Mix it with the G-Talk, feel like Cowboy Bebop. I Nico knees, fuck around and hit a C-Walk. Don't know how to go right, boy, I'm walking on the treetops. Big chicken on mail, man, R.I.P. the 3-bar. Bobbing and weaving, bobbing and weaving. Everywhere I go, they like, boy, you got them painting there. That weave, y'all feel like Keenan, but they calling me the guy for a whole nother reason. Bobbing and weaving, bobbing and weaving. Everywhere I go, they like, boy, you got them painting there. That weave, y'all feel like Keenan, but they calling me the guy for a whole nother reason.
Yeah, bobbing, I weave like a boss. Except I got sauce. Haters just mad cause they lost. Like an AC, that's lossless. Love a go high, that's topless. I don't talk shit, I just make hits. But ironically, that same bitch, nigga get a whole lot of hate lately. Just cut him off like an ex, baby. I rap crazy, that's weave talk like me. Hulk, cut a nigga down. AG, man, that's the fucking town. Get money, no time to fuck around. Blow that shit on Dojins. Only China always going. That's what co-eyes always screaming for my essence. They be it. Ooh, get paid for a show, then stack them Dojins to the ceiling. Who better than the senpai when they bump me in your region too? Been making this fire like I'm Zuko clapping overdue. Buffing girls been getting wet like Brutal since I first came through. It's unfair, but I don't care. These show girls throw they underwear. Her stockings, I'm about to tear. She riding like my dick the fair. Came in like a fucking boss, left without a fucking law. Guilty gear, I troll like false. Bob and Weaver, I still floss.
Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Knights of the Coffee Table. This is Excel, and I'm here, as always, with Sin Rise and Stone Monkey. Unfortunately, we are missing somebody.
I know. It's too bad.
Vash the Token Dargon has officially been detained by Agent Inzabrio in the FIB.
We will save you, brother.
We're working on an insane rescue plan. And so we'll hopefully by Saturday we'll have him out.
We've already hired the mole from South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. We think we can get this done. We got like some things he's drawn on some chalkboards and whiteboards and glass, and then we got like some 3D projectors. That show like the weak spot in the fortress.
No. We also hired motherfucking MacGyver.
Getting our timing down. But here's the thing, you guys, by next week or by Saturday, we may be on the run. We may be broadcasting from an undisclosed location as fugitives from the FIB.
I hope not, man.
So we'll see. We'll see.
I don't want that shit happen. I still don't know how Agent Izurito got into my computer.
That's the thing, man. He's kind of everywhere. Bro. So we just don't know. We're just gonna have to do the best we can and hope our intelligence is newer than his. But
I think ours is, but you never know.
That's the whole government against just us four.
Got to watch out for that FIB, man.
That still was a hilarious show Saturday night. I don't know how many people are in here were around for that show, but you should go check it out. I don't know. It's almost like we got lightning in a bottle. And the other reason I say that our channel's small, man. We only have 45 subs. We have twice as many views on that video as we do subscribers.
Fuck yeah.
This is what I said, Knights of the Drama Table. I think that's what we should change this to. That'll give us all the points, right?
No.
We can start talking about Geek Thulu and Andy Worski, man. That's what everybody wants to hear about.
I'm gonna have to hit eject if you guys are gonna get into that shit.
Apparently Andy Worski's account.
What does this have to do with gaming?
Hacked. And
yesterday,
Geek Thulu's a gamer, so he blamed a fellow gamer for hacking into his account, live streaming, and playing nothing but porn and apparently snuff videos.
Ooh,
like suicide, yeah.
Ooh, that's yeah. Hackers.
Yeah, it's like porn would be like, okay, you're trying to get them banned, but snuff videos, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, you gotta say hackers if it's snuff videos. Anybody's gonna be okay. Everybody watches porn. Come on, there's two types of guys in this world: guys that admit they watch porn and liars. That's fine, right? But if you got snuff shit in there, you gotta say it was hacking, right? Who's gonna admit to that?
Absolutely. Anyway, we will get back to gaming, I promise. But real quick, I want to address the people that showed up in the chat. Irate Prostate, what's up, man? Glad to see you back here. Sharp Doggo, he promises he's not gay. I believe him. Sharp Wolf, is that Sharp Doggo? Or are they related? I don't really know. Tom P, what's up, man? And Ryan himself, how you doing, man?
Ryan's my partner over on Insomnist, which some of you may be familiar with.
I am. It is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Watch it. If you don't watch it, what the fuck are you doing? Just like you should be watching Excel and freaking Tom P on Thursdays. If you're not watching them on Thursdays, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh shit! Well, you're not doing. You're definitely missing something if you're not.
You be getting educated on some math and some economics and about repealing the 19th.
Some good, some of the best shit on the webs, on the YouTubes is.
Fuck yeah.
Beef. Tom P says he's dealing with beef. Real beef? Or you and TFM have a philosophical disagreement. You guys could debate something without having beef, right?
Yeah,
I hope it's not with TFM. I don't want to hear that.
I'm pretty sure TFM, out of all people, is perfectly fine with somebody responding to him that's not making accusations about his personal character, but challenging
I can't see TFM doing that either, really. Unless you really piss him off. But I can't also, Tom always kind of in a beef with somebody somewhere at some point, one way or the other? It's kind of your thing, isn't it, Tom?
I don't know. He does pretty good sometimes, as long as I'm around to bring him in.
Not that I'm worried. Oh, did he? That sucks. That sucks. He definitely can be dismissive.
Petulant child.
Yeah, that's rough to deal with, man. I hate being dismissed too. Ooh, that gets the hair in the back of my neck standing up. I get it. But what are we talking about?
Well, so the title of the show is Defunct Game Stores and Old Commercials. So I kind of wanted to talk about the defunct game stores. I realize that's probably not for like a whole
games,
show, but
EV Games, Game Crazy,
the 80s commercials.
Dude, all fucking kinds of game stores, man.
See, I remember when the original NES came out. Like when it was coming out, and the ads for the first game, the first Generation 1 games, Mario, Zelda, Metro. Yeah, dude.
Nintendo
that was power. The world was abuzz with that fucking Nintendo, man. That was all anybody cared about, as far as I knew, during those few years in the 80s.
Well, and the commercials were so just, I don't know. I mean,
they were new.
There was a certain type of marketing going on. It just hyped up to kids.
It was they did the no same expectations, thing with all the board games. Right? It was commercials that had no expectations. Like, they didn't know what. It was literally like, well, we hope people fucking buy this shit. Seems like it's a good idea. So it was before there was any fucking numbers or really any statistics or anything to go on. It was just like, it was such a different time. And I know there's a lot of people who don't know what that's like, because you grew up, video games existed when, not me, man. I'm not that old, but my first game system was an Atari.
Hell yeah, bro. Mine was a NES.
Like when it was.
But I was also born the year the NES was first coming out, back in '85. So fuck yeah.
Yeah. I was just like in middle school, I think, when the NES first came out, like 6th or 7th grade.
Yeah, I was like 3.
Yeah. So it was the coolest fucking thing ever.
Fuck yeah, they were.
I just remember being in such awe with those games, and you look back on them now, and it's like
I still look at them nowadays, just because
some of them
don't hold up, but some of them do.
Yeah, some of those games where they talk about like the worst games ever. I was like, I'm sorry, dude, but when I was 5 years old playing ET on Atari, I didn't really give a shit. I was like, hey, look, I'm ET and I fell in a pit. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Because that was what I'm doing, eating pizza, but fuck it, pizza's good.
We had nothing to compare it to. You could put out anything in a video game, and people would just be like, well, yeah, I guess it's a game. Fuck it.
Pretty much. I mean, back then, it was all about the box art, man. That's how they got people.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's all. What else was there?
I've gotten with that a few times, even up in the GameCube days, even with the box art and reading the
that's
box description on the back.
Dude.
It was so bad. I was like, fuck, I hate this game. I bought it brand new for $60. I'm like, this sucks.
There was
Think of all the people that bought Mega Man despite the terrible box art.
Oh my god, that box art was just the worst.
Yeah.
The back always had a couple of screens, and that was advertising. Didn't have a commercial for it. And I don't think Nintendo had a bunch of commercials for the games.
No.
Before it came out, I think. I don't remember though. It was so long ago. But yeah, they it was a new market, man. Brand new fucking market.
Well, so Nintendo was actually also the first company to have actual quality control for their games. They had the Nintendo seal of approval. Before that, you released a game console, and it was just like releasing a computer. Anybody could develop software for it.
Right.
And so you had a whole bunch of people just developing shit games. In fact, there's an entire cartoon series that was originally on, I believe, Comedy Central called Code Monkeys. And if you've never seen it, I recommend you download every episode and watch them all. It is hilarious. Anyway,
well, you know what you should download is the Freakazoid. That shit's funny.
Nintendo had Nintendo made playing cards before they even made arcade games.
Yeah, when Nintendo came out with the NES, the company was like 100 years old already.
Yeah.
How the hell is Geo not wrenched? You probably already have that done.
Get it. No, I don't, because I've got the My Circle up. Because I was going to take us back a little further, right? Nintendo is not where video game commercials started. The earliest one I could find was the Magnavox Odyssey in 1972. There were a few things that came before, but this is the first commercial I could find. Yeah,
that would have been a little old even for me.
So you in the My Circle Monkey? And by the way, if anybody wants to come chat with us, we're down a man, so I have no problem adding an honorary night for the night while we watch these wonderful, wonderful, old, terrible commercials.
Yeah, and if Engineer Rio ends up torturing Crash to death, you may have to take his place.
Analogic and geography. Odyssey comes complete with 12 electronic games and educational experiences.
Oh my God.
Many more are optionally available.
No
like
wonder
a shooting
this failed.
gallery, a prehistoric safari.
What the fuck?
Odyssey is an electronic teacher. Odyssey is a total play and learning experience for all.
See, you know they're advertising to the fucking parents here because it can be educational. We can teach geography.
Oh yeah, they shouldn't have opened with that.
They done screwed up. No wonder this one didn't go very far.
All ages. Odyssey. It's new from Magnavox.
And the only reason why you wouldn't see that entire commercial as a kid is because, or why you would have to see it because you couldn't change the channel.
Odyssey easily attaches to any
you would have had to get up and walk over to the TV.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say this has got to be back in the 70s. Yeah.
Otherwise, you just like as soon as they said geography, you'd fucking point the remote and change the channel.
You're just like done. Don't want to play this. It's about as fun as those games. Like I remember, I mean, we had those Apple IIes back when I was in grade school. I remember you would have turns playing games or whatever, and you'd get to play the Oregon Trail, which is awesome. And then you would have all these dumb math games that were just, this is a little bit better than sitting at my desk and coloring.
I played Oregon Trail on the high school computers. I think they were like Apple IIs or something.
Hell yeah, dude! That game was the best back in the day.
Yeah, so these overlay things, I guess they make sense if really all you have is Pong, and you just want to make it look a little different each time.
So I wonder how it worked.
Now at your Magnavox dealer. He's listed in the yellow pages.
Bob, would you? All right, we don't need to watch every Magnavox.
They didn't have whatever it was. They didn't have access to the full, like, they just had lights. I wonder how they got those lights on the.
Oh no, yeah, it was black and white, right? And it was still the CRT style. So yeah, all they could do is draw, like it was a yes or no on the draw pixel.
Oh, weird. That's fascinating to me.
Here's another one. This one's for Atari Pong. Now this commercial is just fucked up. Like, I just think this is weird.
Look at this guy.
If I saw this commercial, I wouldn't even know what I was buying. I would have no fucking clue. I would think I was buying, am I buying whiskey and cigarettes?
I'm sure when you went out last week to play Pong, you got to have so much fun, you just plain forgot to come home. We all miss you, Doreen. But guess what? Atari, inventors of them electronic games to put the quarters in, just made Pong.
Is that a guy in a French maid outfit?
Pong, invented by Atari.
Dusting in the background?
Now at last you can play at home. Don't blin, darling. Come on back home.
Well, that's really fucking bizarre, dude.
I know. That was out of all the ones I found, this was definitely the weirdest fucking commercial. Trying to sell a Pong system, and you got this old dude in a cowboy hat talking about, I don't know, bets here. So I couldn't really understand him because the sound quality was awful. And then briefly you see the system, you're like, Oh, cool! I can play Pong, which I know that was a big deal in 1975, but
yeah,
like the Magnavox was already out. I would have just bought that.
But
yeah. I'd never even heard of the Magnavox one till today.
Oh shit.
So I have one that is out of no. So all the 70 systems were basically just how many different ways can we make Pong, and how many different screen overlays can we have to trick kids into having. Well, you still had to use your imagination, right? You put the hockey thing over it. All of a sudden, you're not playing Pong anymore. You're playing hockey. You put the football thing over it. Now you're playing football.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit, dude! I need that right now, man.
Like the game itself didn't ever change, but what it was telling you were playing did. So that would never fly with kids these days. Like, yeah, like you get this electronic entertainment, but you still have to use your imagination. What kind of bullshit is that?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Fucking imagination these days. I'm too hopped up on ADD meds to think about fucking shit. Let's go to the next one. This one is the Coleco Telstar Pong system.
Yeah, I remember this. Coleco and ColecoVision.
Yeah, this isn't even the ColecoVision. This was a little bit before.
You're watching the most exciting game you will ever see on your TV set.
The most exciting game you will ever see on your TV set.
A big old thing, and it's just that.
Variable speeds. Telstar Hockey. Each player controls a goalie plus a forward on the other side.
Look, it's Pong, but
and
there's
Telstar
two panels.
Handball, a game you play yourself. Telstar Handball.
You can fuck yourself up.
Pong with one player.
Price. For great family fun, switch your TV to a Telstar by Coleco.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like in 1976, that was the only game that you would ever think about playing at home was Pong. Like that was the video game genre, Pong.
Good lord.
All right. Let's jump in. Let's go to the 80s, right? This is where shit actually gets interesting when Atari is actually like in 1977. Atari jumps in.
Yeah, I had this one. I had the 2600. I had Pitfall.
Oh yeah, this was definitely 80s.
Oh yeah, pole position.
So cool, dude.
Solaris, yeah.
Listen to this music, man.
Under $50. Now isn't that nice?
Oh, I remember this ad too. Oh my gosh. So much weed, but I remember that now.
Dude, that entire music style of jingles,
oh, I know.
I'm glad it went away forever.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I watched that on TV when it was current.
All right, here's another one for the 2600.
I'd like an Atari 2600 free Pac-Man.
Oh, well, I just skipped to the end. That was awesome.
That's a fast one.
I'd like an Atari 2600 system, please, and everything that goes with it. Everything? You sure want everything? I want everything. Now you're getting your low price, up to $30 in rebate offers, and a free Pac-Man. Is that everything? It's not everything. You can get nearly 300 different cartridges. 300? That's nothing. It's something, but it's not everything. Soon there'll be a voice module, trackball, remote control joysticks, and a computer keyboard. It's amazing. It's amazing, but it's not everything. It's not everything. Soon there'll be educational games, too. Is that everything? That's everything. For now. For now? The Atari 2600.
Now get up to $30 in rebate offers, plus a free Pac-Man.
Oh my god. Oh my god. So this one is a perfect example of the video game industry being out of touch with exactly what people don't want in the future.
Yeah, no shit.
Add-ons
I don't think
galore.
they did any of that shit.
Add-ons are fucking terrible. Nobody wants those on their game systems.
I know.
Right? That's why the Xbox One didn't sell. Like it forced you to get this add-on that nobody wanted.
Just the most add-ons people want is another controller.
Yeah, that's all you gotta get. Right? Whenever you back in the day when you only had like the 2 ports, like when they came out with like the the 4-port thing, that's not bad to have, right?
Stop giving us bullshit and give us 2 controllers in the box.
Not to mention that, but they're advertising it comes with Pac-Man, which is one of the worst ports to ever be created.
Yeah, it was bad.
You've heard of the story behind that, right?
Oh, there's a story?
Yeah, well, so the guy that was designated to port it was just given a hard deadline and when it needed to be done by. And they didn't give a shit. Yeah, they didn't give a shit. They were just like, we don't care. Get it out by this date so that we can sell a whole bunch of copies. Like maybe it was over the holidays. So with limited time, the guy just kind of threw out whatever, and they were like, we can put Pac-Man on the cover, right? And they're like, good to go. And you ended up getting this piece of shit port that was by far the worst video game port.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was the reason. I never thought about that.
Yeah, and well, because that's when you didn't have teams of people coding the games too. It was usually like one or two people.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Even the guy was like, "Yeah, this was a piece of shit. I didn't have time to do everything I wanted to do with it, but whatever." And they didn't pay their developers shit, dude. That's why a lot of the companies, even today, right? I think Activision was one of them. I know they're getting heat, but a lot of the company names we hear today, they all branched off from working for companies like Atari to make their own independent game companies because they were sick of getting fucked over by the console owners who just thought game coders were a dime a dozen, which they were, unless they made good games.
True. Because nowadays, man, most games are just not up to par anymore. They're getting to that point where it's getting stale and stagnant and incomplete.
Okay, I have the Intellivision. I want to skip to the Vectrex commercial.
Vectrex.
I thought you were going to say something and paused it. But
I was going to say something about what Monkey said. It's like, I've been playing the new Far Cry, and it's fun, but it's really just the last. It feels more like a DLC than a brand new game.
Yeah, it's a lot of games that were used the same engine.
It's still good, but it's not. And there's some different stuff, but it's not that different.
Part of it is we're spoiled as gamers.
We are. Although some of us are a lot more spoiled than others.
So this was the end of trying to do vector graphics.
You really get the feel of Grand Prix racing with this Vectrex video game. All Vectrex cartridges take you to the limit because Vectrex is the high-performance video game machine. It's portable with a built-in screen and vector graphics. Sharper,
it couldn't
faster,
get the flicker.
More responsive than ordinary TV graphics.
Beats you, Dad.
Couldn't get rid of the flickering.
High-performance video game machine.
High-performance Vectrex.
Alright, there's one more after this. It's kind of cool.
Oh, wow, I'm already hooked. Titties? Of course I'm interested.
The 1980s natural titties. You know, that looks really good, but...
So weird.
Yeah, so what I understand about vector graphics, right, is instead of the left to right, line by line writing or whatever, it used mirrors to project it directly where it needed to go.
Huh.
So it looks smoother, and the lines were more solid than the standard CRT graphics.
Right.
But the limit of what you could do with it kind of ended there.
Well, that's interesting. That true vector projection as opposed to a raster image, which is the total standard now. It has been for a long time.
Well, yeah, because I mean, like I said, I don't think they could go much further with that technology. I mean, that's what made Asteroids, even though it was only black and white. It looked smooth as shit. I mean, it had that flicker, but it was a lot smoother than a lot of the other games.
I might still have it somewhere in storage. My dad might still have it, but I had an old original Atari stand-up arcade machine.
Of Asteroids?
Yeah.
Damn, dude. Like, I remember growing up as a kid. There was this one dude, man. His parents bought a couple arcade machines. Asteroids was one of them. I'm trying to think of what the other one was. I know he had a couple, but just the fact he had arcade machines, like full blown.
Lucky bastard.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter that Nintendo was out and there was way better games. It's that it was a full stand up machine in his basement.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Lucky. I had
have you seen those?
My stepdad's friend had a pinball machine, which.
Yeah, dude. You know what? I'm actually glad I live in an apartment because I would, if I had a house and just a bunch of extra room, I would totally just waste a bunch of money to build an arcade room. Especially now that you have those 1-up machines. Have you heard about those? I think they're a little bit shorter than your average.
Oh yeah. I seen one at Walmart last time I was there.
Yeah, you can put them together and you basically like they look like the old arcade cabinets except they have flat screen monitors. And they have
has an emulator in it with 1 million games.
Most of them I think only have one game.
Dude, you can download a MAME emulator and every fucking game made for it on the internet and put it all on your...
that's not the point. The point is to have
and you can buy
you
get
looks
a kit
like the arcade cabinet that you
get. My friend did this. He designed it and built it himself because he's really good with that shit. Like he's a cabinet maker. But he blueprinted it out and made an arcade box, and then inside he put a computer and loaded up a MAME emulator with a port for pretty much every fucking stand-up arcade game made in the last like 30 years or something. And it had 4 controllers on it, so you could play any game that had like Ninja Turtles, and it was like a real arcade system. It was fucking awesome.
That would be cool. There's something to be said though about having the originals. Like besides instead of those 1-ups, just having an original cabinet.
Oh, if you could, just for the collector's value, the collector's item value. Like I always held on to that Asteroids machine just because why not, It turns out the one I have is the regular Asteroids, which is kind of not worth anything because there's 1 billion of them. But there's a deluxe version of that game. Apparently it's really rare. And it's worth something, but
no shit.
Yeah.
Well, I know what to go for when I finally decide to build my own arcade room. Dude, I want to move over the Commodore 64, man. That's one that gets a lot of talk. I never had one. I never knew anybody that had one.
I think I had a friend who had one. He always had the weird ones. He had the Sega, the first one.
The Master System.
He had a Commodore. He had an Amiga. He always had the weird. They always had they had Apple. They always had the weird brands.
Well, so the Commodore 64 and the Amiga both they actually had what would be considered personal computer software that you could also install.
Yeah, those were always the better, like Beta, and even Sega. Like they all were higher quality. Like in a lot of ways, they just didn't market. They didn't have the market power, so they lost.
All right, let's see what Commodore 64 is trying to sell us.
Commodore 64 is just like a PC,
basically.
It's mind-boggling. Commodore 64 lets you play hundreds more games than any video machine, plus draw.
And it also lets you literally summon ships and dragons out of your monitor and manifest them in miniature versions in real life.
And all the neighborhood kids come over.
So this would have been a 64-bit system, just like the Nintendo 64. Then I would imagine.
They even have the bitches in there, which we know wasn't true in the 80s.
Because let's see, the original Nintendo was 8-bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the Super Nintendo was 16, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know why it was called the Commodore 64, because I guarantee you it wasn't 64-bit.
Yeah, it would have been too old, too new. I don't know.
They just slap random numbers at the end of things, make it sound cool. Wait, so I do have we're talking about the Master System.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
The Commodore 64 is an 8-bit home computer. They don't explain why.
Sega challenges you with
it got its name from 64 kilobytes of RAM.
Holy shit!
And coming soon, Monopoly.
That was huge, dude.
Gangster Town.
Oh shit, that game looks dope.
Yeah, I think the Sega Master System actually had more.
Yeah, it was better than the Super Famicom
slightly
that
better
eventually became the NES. It had better hardware. Yeah, it had better hardware than the NES.
Right.
I mean, or the Famicom.
It was better than the Famicom. The Famicom was the Super Nintendo.
No. The Famicom was the regular Nintendo. The Super Famicom was Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, different names, different countries.
Right.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure the Sega Master System had better hardware. It just didn't. Well, wait. It was one of the ones. It was really, really popular in Europe, not so much in America.
I'm trying to figure out what this. It doesn't outright say what it.
You know, you're looking that up, and I thought about doing that, like trying to get the specs for all these fucking different games and or systems. And I was like, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit too hard to put that together and just have it paste on the screen while I'm playing the commercials for it.
Yeah,
because they're all gonna say something different. Like, you know, in the Bit Wars, they would talk about all sorts of nonsense, but Sega, like, they had their blast processing, which just meant, like, it could run through, like, more pixels per second on the screen than others, which is why you had Sonic the Hedgehog. But it had a terrible color palette, which is why games that didn't need that kind of scrolling looked better on Super Nintendo.
Right.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Ryan? How you doing, man?
Right, what's up, dude?
Yeah, I heard you guys were looking for a fourth, maybe like a paladin, maybe like a druid or some shit.
Yeah, dude, we need a ringer.
Yeah. Why, do you know it? Why, do you know someone?
No, I don't know any fucking paladins.
Oh, all right. I'll see you later then.
Were you... The Famicom was the Japanese version of the Super Nintendo.
That's what I thought, too.
And Sega Master System.
The Famicom was the Nintendo. The Super Famicom was the Super Nintendo.
I don't think they're.
All right. But the Sega Master System was this big fucking thing. It looked like a UFO that was attached to a Sega cartridge, and you would plug that into your Sega, and it was this big, goofy looking pain in the ass thing. That's why it never really went anywhere.
Yeah, we just.
You know why it was called Famicom?
Because it's the Family Computer.
Yep. Yeah, no, Excel's right.
Yeah, which brings me back to that original Magnavox thing where it was trying to sell it like it's an educational tool as well as a gaming system. That would never fly these days. I understand why they had to try to do that in the 70s, but yeah, calling the Nintendo a family computer, it's like there's no computing about it, man. It's just a game system.
Indeed. Because it is just a game system. I mean, they did have learning games on them, but not many, and they were boring as shit.
It's not just a game. It's an entertainment system.
Anyway, Ryan, I got the My Circle in the Knights of the Coffee Table.
Oh, right on. Let me... All right, I'm in there.
Where were we at? We just went through the Masters.
Yeah.
Shit, we're getting into the freaking NES days.
Yeah, oh wait, no, hold on. I have one that's just kind of random. It's it's just an arcade commercial from the 1980s.
This token can unlock a fantasy you'll never forget. With this token, you can live a dream and be what you want to be in the game room at Connecticut Golfland. With the drop of this token, you can travel the universe, race the Grand Prix, or play for the New York Yankees. You can live out your fantasies in the game room at Connecticut Golfland. A cup of tokens can provide you with hours of fun and excitement.
So
live out your fantasies at Connecticut Golfland, Route 83, Vernon.
Cup of tokens, $3? That's not bad.
You could end up like this kid.
That kid could have been me at about that time.
Dude, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, sweatpants were just acceptable attire.
Apparently.
What year were we in?
The 80s. It was just one big, long, 10-year long year.
Into the early 90s.
Yeah. Right. Wait, the 90s didn't end until what, 92? Or the 80s didn't end until 92?
That's usually how it works, though. It usually splashes over a year or two before the fads kind of like do the drastic shift.
All right, let's move on to some of these, some of the few actual game commercials I got. This one stuck out to me because I remember seeing this shit on Nickelodeon.
Mario!
Oh.
I don't remember seeing that one.
1, 2, and 3. There's power in numbers. Nintendo, now you're playing with power.
So this is a little bit older commercial then. Or, well, yeah.
A little bit, because you got all the way to Super Mario Brothers 3. The Nintendo's lifespan went forever, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Why did we jump way into the future there?
Well, they built shit to last.
Skipped a bunch of them. There's the the Super Nintendo commercial.
How do I not have the fucking Nintendo commercial?
Oh, there's the Zelda one.
Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of those.
I do have that. I'll go.
That's the one I remember the most.
It's so fucking bad. This is terrible.
I know.
If I saw this commercial about a game, and this is all they had for me, there's no way I'd ever play it.
I remember the script, but I don't remember the production value being so low.
If this is all the information I had, I would never play it.
Well, it's because we're used to production value nowadays. Back then, this was normal.
We can play it on my Nintendo Entertainment System. It's the Legend of
Oh, he's got the gray cartridge. What a fucking scrub.
Yeah, I got the gold one. Man.
Levers too.
No, this is.
Help our hero pulls through. Yeah, go Link. Yeah, get some. Awesome. Intense.
The Nintendo Entertainment System.
I don't even remember that one. There's another Zelda commercial.
Well, that one was shit. If you can find me the other one, I'll throw it in the My Circle.
It's even worse.
I'll start digging.
There's a really good Japanese one.
Somebody posted it in Discord.
I had some of those in my history I can throw at you. I don't think I threw the good ones.
Man, that was fucking hectic when you go into the graveyard and you're overturning all the graves and shit. There's like 16 fucking ghosts on the screen and everything slows down.
Yeah. It can't even keep up.
There it is. I don't even need to see it. The right one.
Oh yeah, this is one. This is actually a shit commercial.
Do you want me to add it? Can I add it to the My Circle? Do you have?
Yeah, I can give you the to do such things.
Give me the power.
I have the power. All right, you got control.
All right, it's in there. Just Zelda NES commercial. So it should be in there. Jeez.
This one.
What?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got here, boys.
Zelda, become a legend on your Nintendo Entertainment System.
Zelda!
I mean,
Which way?
Where is he? He's just in a room. A dark, empty room. What does it have to do with Zelda?
A never-ending adventure.
I think he's supposed to look like he's in a dungeon, but it's apparent that he didn't move at all.
All right, so apparently, like random schizophrenic dudes is a good selling point for video games.
Yeah, he names some of the enemies, and they show a couple of screens. But yeah, what a bizarre way to advertise a game.
I feel like he never really learned the names of those enemies until like a lot later in life.
Yeah, I knew them then because of that commercial, but that's about it. And I used to read Nintendo Power and shit, so I knew all the names.
Yeah, I've got a lot of Nintendo Power upstairs.
If you opened up the instruction manual, it had the name for all the enemies.
Well, dude, because they could play those games for what felt like it must have been years playing the same game. Like, can't do that anymore, really. I mean, there's a couple of games maybe that I play a lot for long periods of time, but not like back then, man.
All right, here's the first NES commercial from 1985. And dude, like, I can't believe that this was a selling point that they had, and the console still succeeded. I don't know, maybe just looking back, like, this would probably be cool in 1985. But now, you see some, like, dumb-looking fucking robot that comes with your console, you're like, get rid of that shit. That's not a
right.
game. You just know it's not.
Oh, dude, okay.
Will you be the one to witness the birth of the incredible Nintendo Entertainment System? The one to play with Rob, the extraordinary video robot, batteries not included.
Oh, I remember that.
Tackle even the toughest challenge.
I remember that they made like 2 games for it, and no one liked it.
Like Duck Hunt, or action-packed Hogan's Alley and high-flying Kung Fu, each sold separately. Will you be the one to experience the Nintendo Entertainment System? Comes with Rob, Zapper, Control Deck, 2 controllers,
even when I was a kid, I didn't understand the robot. It was like it just moves around and moves stuff from one place to the other. How is that fun? Like, that's not. I don't know. I didn't get it then.
I still don't get it.
I didn't get it then. I don't know anyone that had one. I don't think I've ever seen one in real life.
Like, I remember it was supposed to be cool. You look at it and you're like, oh, it's a robot.
It looks
you plug
cool,
it in with the
yeah.
game and you're like, this is not doing anything. All right, look, it's moving. The top's spinning. Look, it's spinning around.
You see it do it in the commercial, and you've seen it all.
Anticlimactic, man.
Yeah,
What's we got here?
I remember that commercial for sure.
Let's do
the light gun was pretty cool. I think people generally like that. I think it didn't come with the original Nintendo system? Did it come with 2 controllers and the light gun?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it was all that and the robot. The robot.
It was like $200 fucking dollars.
Yeah, I didn't get the robot, but I definitely had the guns. I'm pretty sure there was a separate. Maybe there was another version of it that came with the robot, but I think the robot was separate.
I like how gun accessories just became obsolete.
I know.
For like, it was basically after the Sega.
Well, it's such a limiting. It's such a limiting thing. Like, they've made all the games that you can make with that thing.
Well, so they finally brought it back with the Wii.
Yeah,
but just because the technology got a little better and it was just naturally in the game.
Yeah, the one the Nintendo didn't. It wasn't motion tracking. It was just a light sensor.
Yep.
Right.
In the gun. So
well, yeah. So what it did is it temporarily turned your screen like black and white, and the square was the color, and that's what it was reading. It was trying to read the white from the square.
There's a precursor to that. It was called Captain Power.
I do remember Captain. I remember the TV show and having his action figures.
And so it was interactive. When the TV show was on, and you had it was like an airplane that was also a gun. So you like fly them around. So you'd hold on to it and you point at the screen. And if you pull the trigger at the right moment, the screen would flash and the gun would do something different. Like you get a hit or a miss.
See, I never had the hardware, but yeah, I remember the show. It was.
So you'd play along with the show. You couldn't actually affect the show, but it would, depending on your timing, it would get like a score on your gun.
Yeah, that was basically the precursor to terrible live action games that were on the CD-ROM consoles that came slightly after this.
Yeah. But I remember they were, as far as I know, they're the only ones who ever tried anything like that, and no one's really ever tried anything like that since. They tried to do a video game TV crossover combination a couple years ago, but it was a huge failure.
So I think Bash talked about it before, but Nintendo for a short time, and this was only in Japan. For Super Nintendo, they had a satellite system, and they had special games of Zelda that were broadcast over satellite, so you could only play the game. during those certain times over satellite. And that's only if you paid for the satellite service.
And it was only for an hour at a time.
You can get emulators of it that are incomplete, but they kind of give you a feel for what was going on.
I don't think I've ever heard of that. Like, I'm kind of a Zelda nerd too. I don't think I've heard of that.
Play the game?
What? Hold on, let me find it. Hold on.
How would that even work?
I'm gonna look it up. Super Nintendo.
But it's like download like a small copy of the game onto the local machine so you could play it?
The Teleview.
Because there's no way it would be interactive if it was going back and forth between the satellite and you. The lag would be pretty intense.
Retro Game On. This video is attributed to you. We'll see what happens here. Yeah, dude, I want to go into it. It was pretty hilarious.
次々と送られてくるゲームソフトの放送プログラムを家庭で楽しむスーパーファミコン専用衛星放送アダプターサテラビュー
Is it just me, or do like the Japanese commercials hype you up a lot more than the retro English commercials?
Fuck yeah,
there are a lot of Japanese commercials that are a lot better.
It's a different culture, man.
I don't know what they're saying, but he sounds super excited. It's way cooler than telling me about the Magnavox that will teach me about geography.
There's some really good.
See, the Japanese, they're still on the kind of like, this is the best experience. You love it, and we're all artsy fartsy about it, you know. We're all
There's some really good Mario 3 commercials that they had over in Japan. Patella.
The year is now 2016 or later, and you as a modern gamer are used to all sorts of online amenities to play as Tracer, or whatever the flavour of the month currently is. High-speed broadband allows for all sorts of advantages, including patches for games that have already been physically released, online multiplayer with anyone in the world, DLC, and even demos. In fact, even whole games can be downloaded digitally now, taking physical disc and cartridge-based games out of the equation completely. What if this was not in fact something that started with the Dreamcast, specifically downloading whole games? What if this was actually possible in 1995? You may think that's a tad crazy with the internet available at the time, but the Nintendo Satellaview achieved this. It didn't using the internet.
No, not only do I think that was crazy in 1995, I think it's fucking crazy now. Name a game that's trying to do this, where you have to get on at certain times to make certain things happen.
Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go. Oh, okay. Really?
Yeah, but it's still on your own terms.
Do they have timed events?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, I haven't logged on in months.
I guess games do have timed events.
That's true. Like, so Niantic used to do whatever. It's still like not a thing that's. Like,
I think that's a better option.
It's not mainstream.
For the game itself to always be available, but then things happen that you'll only in a certain window. I think is a better market strategy.
Yeah, that's what was terrible.
You can only play our game between 3 p.m. Pacific and 8 a.m. So yeah, that would be
mind you, but as mentioned in its own name, utilize satellites. Yes, if you were in Japan between 1995 and 2000 and had a Super Famicom, a BS tuner, and paid a monthly subscription to St. Giga, then this would have been something that was possible for you. It truly is now a wonder of the retro gaming world.
But why wouldn't you want
we're
to
getting
just
a bit
buy
ahead of
the
ourselves.
game?
Let's look at how this partnership between Nintendo and St. Giga initially began. First off, you might be wondering what St. Giga was. It was a satellite radio company in Japan that started operation in 1991,
rich people buy
which
just to
mostly
say they
broadcast
have it.
new wave music using the BS.
Yes.
Because it's not a better alternative. It's way simpler just to have the game. You still got to buy the console, but you just buy the game and you buy it once. This thing you have to have that, the satellite link, and a monthly fee just to play the game that's available.
Well, it has it on there, and I was watching some other video about how somebody recreated the Sega channel using some, hacked hardware and other things. But at least, I mean, the Sega channel wasn't a terrible idea. It hooked into your Sega or your cable connection, and if your provider would play, it was like $15 a month or something like that, which Well, at the time was expensive, but it did allow you to just basically stream games to your Sega Genesis.
Yeah, that must have been super cool.
I don't know anybody that had it. Once again, anybody here know anybody that had a Sega the Sega channel?
I hadn't heard of it until today.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh, wait, what? No, it was a box plugged into the Sega and it hooked into your cable. Like there was a coax cable that went in there. So I was kind of lying. I knew one person that had it, but their cable was so shit it never worked right. I'm just going to assume that if people were paying for it and they kept it alive for more than a year or so, that it worked for most people.
Yeah, I just went down the Super Nintendo route. I never had a Sega.
I had them both, bitch.
BS Network, which was a series of Japanese broadcasting satellites. This could be accessed by using a BS tuner, a dish, and by paying a monthly subscription. Sengiga had a small, dedicated fan base, but by 1994, when Japan's recession was in full swing, they found themselves in financial difficulties. This is when their partnership with Nintendo kicked off. Nintendo bought a 19.5% controlling stake in Sengiga, and from there, the company started primarily broadcasting data instead of just music for Nintendo's Super Famicom system, which you may know of in the West as the Super Nintendo. These special services made possible by satellites included games, of course, as well as digital magazines and time sessions using something called SoundLink. There was a bit of a startup cost to access the future though. As well as obviously needing a Super Famicom, users needed the Satellaview adapter, which was a satellite modem that attached to the bottom of the Super Famicom, connecting into that expansion port which I bet you always wanted the purpose of. They also needed a BS tuner, as well as a satellite.
You know what? I remember that expansion port.
I
remember having the Sega. I remember having the Sega Genesis. Here's the reason why I remember. I had them both, but with the Genesis, I had that big clunky. We're talking the first generation Sega CD that went way off to the side, and a 32X and 9,000 cables running in my room, behind my television with like 50 little splitter cables. I remember that, but for the Super Nintendo, nothing ever came out. There was nothing to use that expansion port for.
Weird.
Satellite dish to decode the broadcasts, and they paid a monthly subscription to Sengiga, just like the New Age music lovers had before. This all amounted to costing a small fortune. The Satellaview itself cost 14,000 yen, but the required BS tuner had to be bought from Sengiga for 33,000 yen, or could be rented for 6 months for 5,400. On top of that, there was also the monthly fee to Sengiga as just mentioned, but all content from that point onwards was delivered at no extra cost. A BSX cartridge slotted into the Super Famicom like a regular game cartridge, and this was more or less the menu interface for the service. But instead of a boring old menu, it was presented as an RPG style game where the player's avatar could move around a game level of the town to access system features. This was called The Story of the Town with a Stolen Name, and as well as game downloads, there are also notice boards scattered around written by Nintendo and Sengiga, announcing things like contest winners as well as future events. 8 memory packs plugged in.
I'm not gonna lie, this dude's hyping it up to sound like this was actually a really fucking cool thing.
It would be if you could afford it.
Cartridge, and these were rewritable memory cartridges used to save the downloaded games and game save data. These cost 5,000 yen each, and these memory packs could also be inserted into a small number of other Super Famicom games, like RPG Maker 2. Data for that and other compatible games could also be downloaded through the Satellaview. For example, in the game Derby Stallion 96, extra horses and racetracks could be added. Even though Nintendo now had a controlling stake in Sengiga, there was still music played, but the broadcasting schedule was now mostly Super Famicom oriented. Being through a console, of course the games took center position in terms of availability and focus. The games available were split into 4 different categories. BS original games were Satellaview exclusives that were mostly released like modern day episodic content, kind of like any Telltale games today. They were all original, included titles such as Radical Dreamers, which was a sort of text adventure that was originally going to be based off the lore of Chrono Trigger. There's also
I was gonna say
selection games, which consisted of either direct ports of popular SNES games, or remixes or remakes introducing new features and sometimes improved graphics. One such example was BS F-Zero 2 Grand Prix, which included 5 new levels over the original. The game also utilised high quality audio thanks to the satellite broadcast, which would have not been possible beforehand because of technical constraints, which brings us to the next game category, SoundLink.
Ooh, that's right. Right, so when it's broadcasting over satellite into that receiver, if it's syncing up with the game, they could have done way more high quality sound.
See, that's super fucking interesting because in Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers were like a group of, I forgot what, it's been a while, but it's like all over the soundtrack and it was like a theme in the game. So that's interesting that Radical Dreamers would originally have been something that came before Chrono Trigger, or maybe around the same time.
Yeah.
That high quality audio was only available at certain times when it was being broadcasted, included music but also live narration by radio DJs. This went hand in hand with the last category, monthly event games. And these players could verse each other to get the best score, with there usually being prizes up for grabs, which were usually telephone cards or memory cartridges. Soundlink was also used to enhance single player experiences, like in the first episode of BS Legend of Zelda, The Ancient Stone Tablets, as seen here.
それは素晴らしい。そういえば。
This would have been amazing at the time since nothing close to CD quality audio existed on the SNES, but the downside was that it was only available for certain hours on certain days. Magazines were also a feature on the Satellaview, with hard copy publications like Nintendo Power having versions available that were readable on a TV screen. Most of these magazines were to do with gaming, but also included general interest publications. There are also Soundlink magazines, while information on
See, in 1995, the idea of an online magazine is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
These is a bit hard to come by. They seem to be radio shows more than anything. Maybe even what us weird future people would refer to as podcasts. These were hosted by celebrities and pop idols of the day. The Satellaview was likely not the huge success that Nintendo had hoped for, but while no official sales figures have ever been released, it's known that at its peak in 1997 to have over 116,000 subscribers, so it was definitely no failure by any means. Major developer studios Square and NX did land third-party support after all, before they were the same company anyway, with titles such as Treasure Conflicts and the before-mentioned Radical Dreamers. It all started to go wayward in the late 90s, however. It was an amazing service, that's for sure, but the high-priced entry bracket must have been a deterrent for some. Over that, the PlayStation and Sega Saturn
for some, aka
yeah,
were emerging around that time, and some gamers may have opted to spend their money on the newer technology instead. By 1998, the relationship between Nintendo and Sengiga was dissolving. Sengiga neglected to reapply for an important broadcast license, and also refused to go along with a debt management plan orchestrated by Nintendo. It was because of those reasons, and maybe more, that Nintendo decided to leave and stop supplying content for the Satellaview in 1999. Sengiga still limped on with what it had, more or less broadcasting reruns of the digital content, but ultimately discontinued the service in the June of 2000. Sadly, this was more or less the death rattle for Sengiga 2. By 2001 it was going bankrupt and had merged with YB Incorporated, but had a further blow when the director passed away. It was relaunched as Club Cosmo in the March of 2003, but by the October of that year, the licensing rights were sold to a World Independent Network, actively dumping the cartridges, saying that all the Net Yorosi, which was a PS1 game development tool, released to the regular sticky and smelly masses. But anyway, again,
alright, we're just gonna have to take my word for it that there was also a Link to the Past kind of like side quest thing that was going through that.
That's what it was showing there for a second, because you saw Link with the alternate hat.
It did for a second, but it didn't really go into it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was more about like the system as a whole.
There, it was voice acted, and there was a couple extra things added to the game. But other than that, it was basically the same.
I think that was the CD version of it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing. I didn't play it, but that looked fucking terrible.
Nothing's worse than the what was it 3DO, the 3DO Zelda games.
Oh my gosh,
those were so awful. I haven't even played them. I just watched them, and I was like, I wouldn't want to play this game. It's nothing like Zelda.
Unless you have some other videos, I have probably the best video game system ad ever made.
All right.
Trying to think what that might be.
Did you have anything else?
I'm out, but is that what you just added?
I just added, yeah.
The PlayStation 2 commercial for the PS9.
Yeah. Check it out.
I remember this commercial actually.
It's such a good fucking idea, dude.
All right, we'll do this, and then Yeah, we're at 9:03. We went the hour we usually do. Well, after this, I'm gonna do what I always do. I'm gonna order food because I never buy food when I have to stream, and then we'll play some Apex Legends. How do you feel about that, Ryan?
I'm down. I can go for a couple games.
All right.
Sinraz.
Sinraz like, fuck you.
Hey, be playing too.
Like, you kill a couple motherfuckers. You're like, oh fuck, I love this game. It's like that's how I feel too. It's great when you're not dying like instantly. And if you follow Excel, man, he teaches you to we.
PS9 has improved.
Whatever, dude. I just point and click.
I'm about to be able to start pointing and clicking again.
Holographic movie surround vision.
Wait, you're tricking us, dude. This is legitimately a kind of a cool commercial.
Yeah, I wasn't kidding when I said it was one of the best system
commercials. Yeah, I know. I remember, but it's
because I feel like Excel's DM's full of goofy commercials, not so dumb.
Teleport yours today.
Shit, I got enough commercials in his DMs to fill an hour.
PlayStation 2. But someone was talking about it. My favorite part of it was it said psychic. It said psychic music, which I thought was a cool fucking idea. Like music that like was like the perfect music, but only to you. I thought that was cool.
I could see that, man. There would be nothing but ska playing all day long on my headphones.
I can't even imagine.
Like, I can't believe ska's so popular these days. Like every fucking game I play has a ska soundtrack. I'm so glad there's been a ska revival.
So cool. Everything sounds so great. What is this band? It's so good.
Yeah. See, the bad part is I'm at that point now, and I've been at that point for many years now that I'm like, I turn the radio on to something not the somewhat classic rock station, and it's like put on like the pop station or whatever. It's just like, what the fuck is this fucking shit they're putting on the radio?
Pop music is ear.
It turned out that you outgrew the radio stations.
Ugh.
Yeah,
turns out you have some taste in music, is what that means.
Well, fuck, growing up, I always listened to the freaking classic rock station.
Dude,
like,
I don't know what you're talking about. All the shitty pop from my era, where like, you know, when I was growing up, like as a teenager, maybe my early 20s at the latest.
Even that shit is a million times better than what's out today.
Yeah, well, so I mean, I claim it.
Some of the worst music.
Boys to Men, fuck yeah, dude.
1,000 times better than
Kids on the Block.
Anything done in pop music in the last 20 fucking years, dude.
New Kids on the Block.
New Kids on the Block were fucking Mozart compared to some of the newer artists today. They're fucking quote unquote popular.
Look at Cinderella. He's defending his boy bands.
Fucking boomer.
I hate that shit, and I still think it's better.
Anyway, for the what 6 people we have watching left, I hope 4 of them are not us, but they probably are. Yo, dude, let's get out of here. Order some pizza. Right. Play some Apex Legends here in about 30 minutes. If you're still around, join us for some Apex Legends.
Apex.
While Sunrise cries while he plays a game he hates.
Yeah. Sunrise loves it. He doesn't.
It's true.
I like hanging out with you guys.
Secretly, it's his favorite game that he's ever played. He's just mad because he's not good at it yet.